We have to read back to the terms that is.
Definitely did I discover many new things that I didn't know about the work of an MEP, and especially I came to a conclusion which is in a way probably good for other people and less of a benefit for me, because I would never want to become an MEP because of the amount of work that they have to do. It's a lot of coordinating. It's an extreme amount of pre-preparing yourself for what is to come. A voting, which was one of the first things on my agenda. This actually might take just a couple of minutes or an hour of the voting itself, but the preparation for it, the reading through the amendments, which can be just a paragraph long or a couple of hundred pages, is something that definitely requires an entire army of people, an entire army of assistants, an entire army of trainees that are there, and of course a focused MEP that is looking into everything in order not to make a mistake. And I'm guessing that there's different MEPs and that there's different people who approach a question differently, or maybe go into deep and go into the very depth of the very core of the problem, and some that are just overseeing things or overlooking them. But nevertheless, I do believe that the work of an MEP is something that you have to be made for, and is something that I definitely haven't imagined to be this complex.
We have to read back to the terms that is.
I definitely recommend such an experience to everybody, and I wouldn't limit it only to volunteers, but if I had to say if I would recommend that to volunteers, I certainly would. As I like to say that any work experience, any volunteering experience is always a two-sided road, or a road in two directions. So as much as a volunteer gives to somebody, he always receives at least the exact amount of knowledge, of new experiences, of broadening horizons, as he is giving the counterpart or the beneficiary or the other person standing in front of him. So I would definitely recommend that. I would definitely also recommend such an experience for MEPs, because this way they could get a broader insight into what volunteering is about, and especially with volunteering, which includes loads of hours of work. I don't know if it's adequate to say, but for instance, I really, in my personal opinion, have also contributed to the MEP's understanding of what volunteering means and what giving people hours of your free time means to them. And just through the dialogue between an MEP and a volunteer, understanding that this is not only a work, but rather a lifestyle. I think in that way, people could definitely, both of the parties could definitely understand far more about each other, far more about the lives, or the issues that a volunteer is, for instance, facing with the field of expertise or the field of work that he's currently dealing with. And on the other side, of course, the volunteer definitely takes away these little bits and pieces also of how an MEP functions. There's as many people as there are different characters, and as many MEPs as there are different MEPs. And just understanding how also politicians' mind works, and what it actually means to, or which way to choose, which action to choose, how to approach somebody, how to address a question, how to, always be present and always focus, concentrate always bring out the same topics if it's necessary. Just communicate all the problems through and how to communicate them through. I think this is something that I definitely have brought with myself, you know, and have now a deeper understanding. And I also guess that, and actually hope that the MEP that I was volunteering for has also received this insight into what it means, you know, just also what it means, you know, what kind of a wish we have as volunteers, you know, to help, what it means to drive from one country to the other across Europe, you know, to get an insight into what politics is like in the European Parliament, you know, and on the other hand, also give an input back to them, what we are doing and how we are facing problems and what problems we are facing. So yes.
We have to read back to the terms that is.
Definitely a lot of knowledge, a deeper understanding, a context of what it means to be in the European Parliament, what burdens somebody has on his shoulder, and how this daily life looks like. And definitely also compassion. A compassion for the people that work within politics, understanding that it is an entire mechanism, a ginormous apparatus, which is constantly doing stuff in the back while we are, you know, following our daily lives. Just this insight, so into how European politics look like. This is one of the most important things that I'm taking home, and I'm definitely taking home also a completely different aspect to how I now understand that change takes time. Persistence is always something that has to remain, and that we as European citizens have to have, or volunteers, you know, in this case have to understand that we have to bring that with us. So a lot of patience and also this deeper understanding of what it actually means to be a politician. So I'm taking back, I said, loads of knowledge, loads of insights, and an incredible amount of new experiences that I can't even compare to anything else that I have witnessed or lived through.